I believe the Chicago Bears may have one of the brightest futures in the NFL, and in this video I'll be giving you guys 4 reasons why I feel that way. Before I begin with the video, I want to talk about the sponsor of this video, DraftKings Sportsbook. So guys, if you don't have a DraftKings Sportsbook account already, I would recommend you guys download this app, because if you want to get into sports betting, I think the DraftKings Sportsbook is the best app to do so. They're an official betting partner of the NFL, and they have a nice promotion right now going on for new users that if you don't have an account already, you can take advantage of this promotion. So basically how it works is that if you go down below my description box, click the link, download the app, use promo code DaWindyCity while signing up, and if you place a $5 wager on any NFL team to win this weekend, you get $200 in free bets if that team wins. So for example, place $5 on Chicago to win, or if you want to bet on some other NFL team, place $5 on that team to win. If that team wins, you get $200 in free bets to start out your bankroll with, okay, if you want to get more into sports betting this season. And they also have same game parlays too, guys. So if you guys want to later on place other bets, you know, besides just moneyline bets, they have same game parlays where you can actually combine a bunch of different bets in a single game into one single wager. So you can, for example, put, you know, or combine passing yards for this player with touchdowns scored for that player with, you know, whatever else they have there, right, that they're offering in that game. And if all those things happen in that single game, you get the payout that you're supposed to get, and the odds can obviously go up there because you're combining a whole lot of things happening in a single game. So I like using same game parlays. I like doing regular money line too. But guys, if you're in a state where sports betting is not legal right now, they also have DraftKings Daily Fantasy, which is a little bit different, but you can also win money on the football season using that app as well. So I would highly recommend you guys download this app, guys. Go down below in my description box. Again, use promo code DaWindyCity while signing up to turn $5 of bets on any NFL team. And if that team wins, you get $200 in free bets to start your bankroll with. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears discussion video. I wanted to do something a little bit different this week rather than just doing my pre-game and post-game videos, which I do every single week for the games, because right now the conversation regarding the Chicago Bears is more focused on the future rather than the present this season. And obviously, right, because we're sitting at 3-7, we don't have a very good shot at making the playoffs. I'm not saying it's totally impossible, because anything is possible in the NFL. When you mathematically still have a chance to make the playoffs, you know, it could still happen. We could go on a long winning streak. I mean, we've been losing these recent games by very small margins. So yes, it is possible the Bears still could sneak into the playoffs, but it's not very likely, okay? Right now, the Bears are headed towards probably a top 10, top 5 draft pick. You know, we're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. And that's why the conversation regarding the Chicago Bears is more focused towards the future rather than this current season, and with good reason, because I believe the Bears, man, have one of the brightest futures in the entire NFL. And I'm not only saying that because I'm a Bears fan. Obviously, being a Bears fan, I am going to be biased towards my own team. I'm going to be optimistic towards my own team. But it's not just me that is saying these things about the Chicago Bears, okay? It's other fans of other teams. It's analysts on TV, which usually hate on the Chicago Bears. Okay, the Bears don't usually get much love from the TV analysts, but that has been changing as of late. Other GMs across the NFL, current and former, have been high on the Chicago Bears. Executives across the league, coaches have praised the Chicago Bears too. So it's a lot of people across the NFL world that are pretty high on the Bears going forward. It's not only Bears fans. And for the first time in a long time, man, I really do feel like the Chicago Bears have a chance to be competitive sustainably for the long term after this season, and maybe after next season too. I'm not totally sure how long this rebuild is going to take, but if I had to guess, I think the Chicago Bears will be a very competitive team starting next year if we do the offseason right. And in this video, I'll be listing 4 reasons why I feel like the Chicago Bears have one of the brightest futures in the entire NFL. Reason number 1 is going to be quarterback Justin Fields ascending in front of our very eyes. If you have a young quarterback that is rising up in this league, that is getting respect from his opposition, from people on TV, from opposing coaches, from other fans of this league, that is a big freaking deal, because that does not happen very often in this league, especially for us Chicago Bears fans. My entire life as a Bears fan, it's always been about the defense. Okay, it's been about how great the 1985 Bears defense was. It's been about how great that 2006 Bears defense was with Brian Urlacher, all those great defensive guys. It's been about how good the 2012 defense was with, leading the NFL in defensive touchdowns. It's been about how good the 2018 defense was with, that dominant scoring defense that we had, dominant passing defense that we had as well. But what do we have to show for all those dominant defenses? One championship. Okay, one championship 40 plus years ago. Ever since then, it's been barely any playoff victories at all. Okay, the Chicago Bears have been one of the lowest achieving teams in the playoff Super Bowl era because they've never had a dominant quarterback. Okay, a quarterback that other teams in the NFL fear and respect. And right now, Justin Fields, he's doing things that are making opposing defenses fear and respect him, even though his passing performances up to this point have not been amazing. And that's the scary thing about Justin Fields, because at Ohio State, he was a pass-first quarterback, okay? He was not a run-first quarterback like some people have been suggesting across the NFL, because that's kind of what he's been doing a lot in the NFL up to this point, running with the football a lot. So people that never watched him in college probably thought he was like a run-first quarterback, but that was never the case at Ohio State. He was one of the most proficient, one of the most accurate passers in the history of college football, going down the field, intermediate routes, short routes. Like, he was one of the best in the business passing the football. And right now, he's not been able to display that passing prowess too much with the Chicago Bears because we don't have the personnel to really do that this year. Okay, the Chicago Bears put a full reset on this team. So we did not acquire star-level offensive linemen. We did not acquire many star-level receivers. We did get Chase Claypool recently, so hopefully that connection continues to grow as he gets more comfortable in this offense. But right now, the Bears could obviously use better receivers, better offensive linemen. They have a bottom 10 offensive line in terms of pass protection. Okay, when they have to drop back and pass the ball, they have not been the most consistent in doing that without having extra guys helping them up front. So a sixth offensive lineman, a tight end, which if you do that, if you have extra guys blocking, you obviously have less guys running routes down the field, which is going to make it harder to find guys open down the field. So the lack of personnel obviously is making it hard for Justin Fields and the Bears offense to be very productive as a passer, but he's been a lot more efficient passing the football as of late, which is a big freaking deal, because even though we're not passing the football, 30 plus times a game, he's getting better at making smarter decisions in the game. Okay, if you look at his passing stats, only his passing stats in the last 4 games, ever since the mini bye week after he made all those adjustments to the playbook, he's been a pretty efficient passer. Okay, he has 8 passing touchdowns to only 2 interceptions, so obviously not turning the ball over as much as he was earlier on in his career. So clearly growing in terms of protecting the football, but also passing the football. He's been a much more efficient passer with a passer rating of 102.8 in the last month. So again, even though he's not getting like 250, 300 plus passing yards a game, that's mainly because we don't pass the football that much, because we don't have the capabilities to do so this year. But even in these limited passing opportunities he's been given, he's getting a lot better in those situations. Okay, he's not making as many mistakes as he was earlier on in his career, and he's been more accurate with the football. Okay, so he's completing more passes. He has above 60% completion percentage in each of his last 4 games, which has never happened before in his NFL career. So clearly growing as a passer, clearly getting better as a passer, even if the stats don't always suggest that right now. But the value he's bringing to the Chicago Bears as a runner is absolutely freaking insane. Like, he's doing things on the ground that no Bears quarterback has obviously ever done, but he's also doing things on the ground that very few quarterbacks in the history of this game have ever done. Okay, only guys like Lamar Jackson and Michael Vick have done these things. So Justin Fields currently, guys, he has 749 rushing yards through 10 games. Okay, top 6. He ranks 6th in the NFL, including running backs in terms of rushing yards this season, which is a big reason, probably the main reason why we're scoring 30 plus points a game, because our quarterback is a threat to score the football from anywhere on the field. You guys have to understand what that does to a defense. It makes it almost impossible to game plan for, because you can't just only play against his running ability, because he's still been pretty efficient as a passer as of late. So he's going to torch you through the air if you only play against run, and if you don't play enough against run, if you don't have multiple spies on the field, he's going to go off for 50, 60 plus yard touchdown runs. And even with spies on the field, he's still been going past those spies, okay, outrunning those spies, because he is one of the fastest guys in the NFL. So from a pure athleticism, running perspective, he has been providing the Chicago Bears with insane value. Okay, he's been bailing the Chicago Bears out so many times throughout the season. Okay, so many times where he was about to get sacked, even though I know Justin Fields also causes some of his own sacks, because he does hold on to the football sometimes a little bit too long, looking for big plays down the field. He's also gotten out of so many sacks with his insane mobility, with his insane ability to escape the pocket. So as a runner, guys, he's broken so many records as of late. Okay, most rushing yards by a quarterback in the Super Bowl era over a 5-game span. Only quarterback in the Super Bowl era with multiple rushing touchdowns of 60 plus yards. 2 longest touchdown runs by a quarterback in Bears history. Only NFL player to have 2 passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, 100 plus rushing yards in a game. Most carries reaching 20 plus miles per hour in the NFL this season. Leads the NFL in rushing yards by a quarterback. Tied for NFL lead in rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 6. I mean, he is doing things that are just insane to even think about. Like, these are things that we just have never seen as fans of this team, and he's carrying this team on his back. A very limited team offensively. He's carrying this team on his back. He's scoring 30 plus points a game, mostly because of his own doing. So the fact that we have a quarterback this talented, this dynamic, that is not even fully achieved his potential as a passer yet, is a very scary thing for the NFL. And I really feel like the Chicago Bears do have their franchise quarterback, which is one major reason why the Bears' future is so freaking bright. Because if you get this guy eventually passing the football like he did at Ohio State, how are you going to defend against this quarterback? Okay, maybe one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the NFL in due time, which when is the last time you could have said that about a Chicago Bears quarterback? Okay, I really feel like we have our guy. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is going to be that the team has been very competitive even during a rebuilding year in which they have not been given much talent to work with at all. Okay, the Bears are spending the least amount of money on the offensive side of the football. They're also spending the second least amount of money on the defensive side of the football. Okay, this is a team that is not expected to win right now, but still they have 5 one-possession losses. Okay, 5 games in which if 1 or 2 plays went differently, they could have won those games, okay, and their record could be looking a lot different as of now, okay? So against the Giants, obviously lost by 8 points. Against the Vikings, lost by 7 points. Against the Commanders, lost by 5 points. Against the Dolphins, lost by 3 points. Against the Lions, lost by 1 point. And in a rebuilding year, guys, that is really impressive because you don't have the talent to compete with a lot of these teams. Like, the Vikings are 7-1 right now, leading the NFC. The Dolphins are also having a very good record, but against these teams, we barely lost those games, partly because of how good our offense was in those games. So with a better defense, with more experienced players also on the offensive side of the football, with another year of continuity in the system, these games easily could be turning into wins. Okay, this is a sign of a team that is pretty damn close, even though they don't have the talent necessarily to be close in most of these games. They only have 2 blowout losses against the Cowboys and 1 against the Packers, which even against the Packers, they could have made that game a one-possession loss, if their touchdown counted, which unfortunately the referees took away that touchdown from us down the stretch. And even in these last 2 games, guys, those could have easily been wins if the referees did not make crucial bad calls against the Chicago Bears. So losing all these games barely, which yes, you could say the Bears are finding ways to lose, that they have not figured out how to win yet, which could be a reflection of their coach. All those things could be true, but they're not expected to win these games this year, guys. This is the first year of a rebuild, and even being close is a sign of success, because before you win big, you have to lose small, okay? And that's what the Bears are doing right now, okay? They're losing small, and hopefully with more continuity, with better players, they can eventually win these games. And guys, like, over the past 4 games, if you look at our defense, if our defense just was not one of the worst in the NFL, okay, if we allowed less than 28 points per game, which is what most defenses in the NFL can do, we would be on a 4-game winning streak right now, sitting at 6-4 in the middle of the playoff hunt. So like, this young team, okay, a team full of so many second-year or first-year players, some UDFA guys too. For example, Jack Sanborn, a undrafted free agent starting at linebacker for us. Like, these guys are still barely losing these games, which is a sign of future success for the Chicago Bears, because we're going to get upgrades, we're going to get reinforcements in the offseason, which hopefully should enable us to win these games next year. So that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is going to be that the Chicago Bears have a significant amount of draft capital this year, accumulated from trades, but also accumulated from them losing games this year. Okay, I talked recently about how losing these close games, that's been a big thing for the Bears this year. Now, the bright side about that is that the Chicago Bears have been improving their draft capital even while losing barely against these good teams, okay? So these losses against teams like the Dolphins, against the Vikings, against the Lions, they sucked in the moment, but in April, these losses are going to feel like wins, okay? Because the Bears were not expected to do anything this year. I know that winning games, it's good for the morale of your team, it's good for your players, obviously, because you want to win games being in this league. But if you can just stomach 1 year of sucking, okay, 1 more year of being a bad football team, there's going to be serious long-term payoff from that, because, man, the Bears can get a blue chip player at the top of the draft this year at a position of need for this team. They can get a star defensive lineman, a guy like Jalen Carter, maybe a star pass rusher like Will Anderson from Alabama. They can get a star offensive lineman, maybe like Olu Fashanu from Penn State, maybe like Peter Skoransky from Northwestern. They can get a wide receiver, maybe a guy like Jordan Addison, maybe a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba, who might go later now because he's falling in the draft a little bit because of his injuries. But whatever the case is, guys, the Bears are going to get a seriously good prospect at the top of the draft. And if they don't do that, okay, if they don't stay at their own pick, they can also trade back and acquire so many future picks or maybe current picks for this year because of the QBs that may go in the top 5. Okay, currently as the time recording this video, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Will Levis from Kentucky are all, expected to go in the top 5 right now, according to the draft analysts, which if any team falls in love with those guys, they're going to seriously overpay to get their guy, because that's what always happens in the NFL while you're trading up for a quarterback. I mean, the 49ers, to go up for Trey Lance, they had to sacrifice 2 future first round picks. The Bears moving up for Justin Fields, only moving up I think it was 10 spots, 9 spots. They had to sacrifice a future first round pick, which ended up being the number 7 overall pick in the following draft. So the point is that teams significantly overpaid to get their guy quarterback, and the Bears should take advantage of other teams looking to do that this year, which Ryan Poles has already traded back so many times in his first draft as GM of the Bears. So look for him to do that again this year and acquire even more picks. But looking at the other picks the Bears have, we have so many other picks this year too. Okay, we have obviously our own first round pick. We have a second round pick coming from the Baltimore Ravens from the Roquan Smith trade. We have a third round pick. We have 2 fourth round picks, 1 our own, 1 from the Eagles. We have 2 fifth round picks, 1 our own, 1 from the Ravens, and obviously a 7th round pick too. So in totality, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total picks in this year's draft, including a high first round pick, which Ryan Poles has the chance to lay the foundation for the next 5 years of Bears football with this draft class. Okay, if he does draft well this year, and he has so many opportunities to do so with all the picks he's accumulated and with how he probably will get more picks too by trading back. So that's reason number 3. And then finally, reason number 4 is going to be that the Chicago Bears have serious cap flexibility going forward, which few other teams can match right now in the NFL. So I want to bring up the salary cap number right now and compare it to the other teams in the NFL. According to overthecap.com, the Chicago Bears have almost $125 million to spend in the upcoming year, which is $50+ million more than the second highest team, the Atlanta Falcons, meaning that the Chicago Bears can outbid basically any team for any player they want. Okay, if that player wants to come to Chicago, which many players might want to do that now because we're barely losing games. We have an exciting young quarterback, which attracts a lot of players. And obviously that money is going to attract those players as well, because players in this league, man, they want to get their pay. They want to get what they're worth as players, and the Bears can afford to pay them what they are worth, and maybe then some if we want to overspend a little bit on some players. Now, Ryan Poles has not overspent at all really in his time as Chicago Bears GM. The only time he did overspend probably was trading for Chase Claypool, trading a high second round pick. That was a pretty high price to pay. But, going forward, you will have to overpay at some point for these high end players. Guys like Elton Jenkins from the Packers, really good offensive lineman. The Bears can easily outbid the Packers for Elton Jenkins. If they want to get a guy on the defensive line, a guy like Daron Payne, okay, a guy from the Commanders, they can easily outbid the Commanders for that player. So all these players that are going to be coming into free agency, the Bears can basically pick and choose whoever they want because they have the cap flexibility to do so. And also what this does for your team is it also opens up the possibility to acquire players that want out from other teams, star players. For example, guys like AJ Brown got traded from the Titans to the Eagles because the Eagles had the cap space and the picks to acquire him. A guy like Tyreek Hill, who wanted more money, he got traded from the Chiefs to the Dolphins because the Dolphins had the cap flexibility to do that, and also they had the draft capital to do that. So that's the big thing, guys. The Bears in the future, even if it's not this current year, they will have the ability to acquire star players that want out because they have all this cap space. Okay, we're not going to use all this space in 1 year. Obviously, we're going to have space for many years to come, which will enable the Bears to be very flexible in terms of adding high-level players if they want to do so. So that's basically the 4 reasons why I feel like the Chicago Bears have a bright future. Let me know if you guys disagree or agree in the comment section down below. And obviously, we'll see if I'm proven right in 2 or 3 years in the future. If the Bears are winning big by then, I will be proven right. If they're still losing, I will be proven wrong. And you guys can roast me in the comment section. But I'm pretty sure, guys, that we will be winning a lot in the future because for the first time in a long time, and I feel the Chicago Bears seriously do have their quarterback. They have so much cap flexibility. They have a coach that's keeping this team competitive even while rebuilding. They have all the draft capital too. So like all these reasons, man, it really does feel like the Chicago Bears are on the upswing and good times are coming in the Windy City. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. But as always, bear down.